watching CramerSez.
Welcome. My name is Kramer. This is the CramerSez podcast, and this episode is going to be called, Haven't I Been Telling You This Shit Was Going to Happen? If you've been listening to my podcast and my pontifications for the last 4 years, I told you this is where we would get to. I told you. How did I know? Because it's happened before. It's not the first time. This isn't the first time that this has happened on the planet. It's not even the first time it's happened in our lifetimes. Anybody with open eyes watching what these people are doing could tell you what was going to happen next, because evil begets evil. Joe Biden just told the American people that he's going to give them $750. That's his best offer. Not going to give you anything more. Not going to put out the same silver platter with cash on it that he did for Zelensky. They hate you. If you haven't realized that yet, you're not paying attention. They hate you. They despise you. Joe Biden thinks that half the nation is deplorable. Oh, it's just those MAGA. No, it's anyone who dissents, anyone who doesn't agree with him. How do I know? Eric Adams in New York. He put the illegal alien issue that he was having in his city. He put that at the feet of the Biden administration, and they fucking indicted him. They've weaponized the DOJ. They've weaponized the FBI. Folks, it's clear to see what our path is here. I do not think, and I've said this for the last several months, I don't think that they're going to let Trump be president. I don't think that they're going to allow him to walk in and take over. I don't see that happening. The reason is, and I've explained it many times, but I'll do it again for anyone who's new. The reason that I think that that's the case, that they're not going to allow Trump to be president, is because of the investigations of what they've done wrong. Criminals know the crimes they've committed. Everybody else has to investigate them. But they know the crimes they've committed. So they're willing to do anything to make sure you never find out what the fuck they were doing. And here we are. Got Hurricane Helene. Trump went, and the media lost their mind because they said that he was going to interfere in the operations, interfere in people getting saved and goods getting in and people getting out. That didn't happen. But it did today with Joe and Kamala as they go down there for their photo ops. Everything stopped for several hours. Nothing in, nothing out. No helicopters in the air searching for people so they can get a photo op. They hate you. They hate you. And you've got to learn to hate them back with what it's going to take to get this nation back on track. Because as I've been saying, we are not going to do it at the election box. They're not going to allow that to happen. They've already... Folks, there was a video today of, I put it out today from CNN. I wish I had it to play, but I'll paraphrase. Basically, it's a never Trumper on CNN saying he's voting for Trump. And when they said, well, what about the insurrection and the threat to democracy? His response was, I have seen multitudes more threats to our democracy that eclipse January 6th since Joe Biden took over. That's what a never Trumper said. When you start turning the never Trumpers, folks, our nation is in trouble. Now, it's important to say, it's important to remember, that this nation was built by people who did not want to be told what to do. They were done with it. They created a system where they said, we're going to be the best men we can possibly be. We're going to create a system that ensures freedom as long as people are willing to fight for it. Your freedom doesn't come free. It has to be defended on a regular basis. That started on the playground when you were a little kid. It continues today with our politicians. Folks, if you don't realize that we are as close to revolution, civil war in this nation as we've ever been, they know it. Well, we don't want to do that. We don't, because that's exactly what they want. No, they don't. They don't want revolution and civil war. It does not benefit them. They want us to keep doing what we used to do on the playground. When the bully would come up and poke you in the chest, just keep taking it. Just keep fucking taking it. That's what they want. They do not want civil war or revolution. That's why the men and women who were at January 6th are still in prison 4 years later. Well, 3.5 years later. Think about that. We're as close as we've ever been. The reason those people are locked up in D.C. is because they would be the ones most likely to rise up against the nation or the government, current government. And that's what it is, folks. The government's created by the people. The government didn't create itself. It belongs to us. And when they're sending our fucking money to other fucking nations and enriching the corrupt in those nations, when they're doing that, they're traitors. That's your money. It doesn't benefit you. Ukraine does not benefit you. Israel does not benefit you. None of the money that we send around the world benefits American citizens. Why do I say that? Because when we need help, no one shows up. Where are the ships from Russia and China and Great Britain and Japan and all of our fucking allies? Why aren't they sending ships into the fucking ports offering, here's services, here's our planes, here's this, here's that? Why aren't we getting that? Because we're America. We're the planet's bitch. What we are is we're a hooker. We've sold our souls. When I say sold our souls, it's the politicians. They've sold us out. We're as close to revolution as we've ever been. No, they do not want revolution so that they can put in martial law. They can put martial law in whenever the fuck they want. What they know will happen when they do that is a revolution. So come on, put your thinking caps on for a moment, folks. It's not what they want. They are bullies. They're doing what bullies do. And what do bullies do? They threaten, threaten, threaten. And then when they need to, they make, they make somebody pay for not listening to what the bully said. They make an example of someone. Think about all the movies that you've seen with the mafia. Yeah, we just want you to do this. So just give us 10% of what you've got coming in every month, and we'll leave you alone. What's the difference between that and the federal government saying, if you don't pay this, we come and take everything you own? That's not what our founding fathers went to war with the British to be right back under 248 years later. And you've got to be willing to stand and defend these rights. They are not yours inherently. You have to defend them. They're personal rights, not group rights. We don't believe in that. Group rights suck. That's a caste system. No, group rights, that's not what we're after. We're after personal rights. Personal rights have to be defended personally. When that bully came up to you on the playground and started punching you in the chest, what did you do? Did you relent or did you dissent? Did you tell him to go fuck off, or did you bow the knee? Nothing's changed. Nothing's changed since that day on the playground, folks. Nothing. Taking your phone calls when we come back. We'll be right back after this.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
From the halls of Congress
Across the nation.
and around the globe.
You're getting the latest news and conservative views.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
CramerSez returns after this message from our partners. Learn how you can save up to 70% on your healthcare costs with just one click. Visit CramerSez.com/impact for complete details. That's CramerSez.com/impact.
What is Impact Health Sharing?
Impact Health Sharing isn't insurance.
It's a modern, affordable alternative to traditional health insurance, offering significant cost savings.
Most members save 30 to 50% on healthcare costs. With Impact Health Sharing, you enjoy the freedom to choose any doctor without in-network restrictions.
With an easy, hassle-free enrollment process.
Plus, access telemedicine 24/7 with $0 provider fees.
Call 844-827-2637 to learn how you can save 30, 40, even up to 50% on your healthcare costs.
The CramerSez Project is back.
With global news and local views.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
You're watching CramerSez.
And we're back. So what do you think, folks? Do you think that we're in trouble? Do you think that are you seeing what I've been seeing? Are you seeing that the people that are supposed to be there supporting us don't give two shits about us? Is it evident now? Are you seeing it? Lahaina, $700. Asheville, $750. Ukraine, $200 billion. You don't matter. You're the cash cow. They'll just keep squeezing you and squeezing you and squeezing you and squeezing you. And they're not going to stop because they're fucking bullies. That's all it is. Folks, it's nothing more than that. If you've got a king, let's say you got a young man, and he decides, you know what, I'm a badass, and he starts beating up everybody in a fucking village. Before you know it, that dude is king. That's how it happens. No, when he says something, everybody does it because he'll beat the shit out of him. It's no different. They just don't beat you up today. They arrest you. They indict you. They send you to jail. They cancel you. They destroy your business. They destroy the environment for you to be able to make money and survive. They put a cancer on everything that they touch. And it's for one simple reason. It's for power. And everything else that goes along with it. Like what's happening with P. Diddy right now. It's the perfect storm, folks. There's too much happening at one time. What did I tell you would happen? I said it would be a cascade event. If you've been listening to my podcast for the last 3-4 years, I've said the exact same thing over and over and over again. We're going to have a cascade event. Everything's going to pile up and continue to pile up, just like we've been seeing in the rivers of these flood zones where the debris hits up against the bridge and it keeps building and building and building. And finally, the bridge gives way. That's what's happening right now to our nation. When that cascade breaks, when that levee breaks, when it frees itself, folks, this nation is not going to be the same. They won't allow Trump to be president. We're 33 days out, 2 assassination attempts. A third guy tried. They got him in the desert. Think about that. That's how badly they don't want us to have anything to do with power. They've justified killing Trump. No different than Booth. No different than Sirhan. No different than Lee Harvey Oswald or the CIA or whoever was responsible for the assassination of JFK. Probably the same thing with RFK. It's now surmised that it was all Sirhan was an agent of CIA, and that's why all this went crazy in the 60s, because they were cleaning house. They were setting themselves up in the 1960s for a brand new America. They'd come out of the war, they'd won, they were victorious, they had money, and they had a tax base that could not die. And they've squeezed the fucking life out of it. Now what they're doing is they're selling influence here to enrich themselves, so when this system collapses, they're in a good position. Folks, if you don't think that's what it is, you're not paying attention. They're destroying it on purpose. They're either incompetent or corrupt. They cannot be, none of them. They're either incompetent or corrupt. Those are the only two choices. And if they're incompetent, they shouldn't serve. And if they're corrupt, they should be fucking strung up. They hang traitors, right? Isn't that what they do with traitors? Those that sell out their nation? I think that is what they do. We're going to open the phone lines. Feel free to call in. Let me see if I get this set up yet. I don't think I do. We'll go ahead and we'll play with this for a second and see if we get this right. This is the number to call in on. Folks, I want to hear from what you have to say tonight on what you think is going on in this nation and how close we are to revolution or civil war. We learned today that FEMA has spent all the money meant for, emergencies here in America, spent all that money on getting the illegals into the country. Oh, the border crossings are down. Yeah, they're down because they're actually flying them in from their countries. There's an app where they can go in, they can sign up, and they can get flown into the nation as an illegal alien, and we're fucking paying for that. The FEMA money drained to pay for $300 a night hotels for illegal aliens, to build centers so they could feed them and house them and clothe them. I feel for these people, I do, but they're not refugees from they're not political refugees. They're economic refugees. That's all it is. They just want a better life. I get it, but not on my back. Folks, America is one of the most giving groups in the nation. We're one of the biggest giving nations on the face of the earth. We give more charity, send more things, more places. And we don't get it in return. You're live with CramerSez. What's your name and where are you calling from?
What's going on, brothers? Brooklyn, man. How you been?
I've been doing well, Brooklyn. How about you?
Just hanging in there. But, yeah, man, I'm on the same page, yo. We're not voting on we either. I was trying to be optimistic, but you're 1,000% right, man. We're not. And they're doing everything in their power. Like, for the primary, I was volunteering to help, in an election, kind of like to keep that watchful eye. And the people that were there originally retired, and now it's a new person that took over, a younger person, and they enacted a new system. And now they're asking these questions that they weren't on the questionnaires before, like a party affiliation and stuff like that. They never asked that before. And that's none of their big. What does it matter if I'm Republican or Democrat?
Right.
I'm there to volunteer. So I feel like they're using that as a screening tool to see who they're allowing to volunteer or not, because they don't want anybody seeing what's going on.
Yeah, I think we're in a tight bind. It's funny, Brooklyn. Over the last year or so, when you've called into the show and we've talked, you were very optimistic, and you kept calling me the dark cloud. And you didn't think that I was calling. Why have you changed your mind? Why have you turned and realized that revolution is on the horizon, whether we want it or not?
They're not. I mean, you could just see the lawfare. I mean, like, they're doing anything not to let this guy run. I mean, look what happened with Jack Smith and Judge Chokan just now. All they did was change a phrase, and now he's under indictment again. It just like it's too in your face what they're doing, and it's just like they've already allowed 3 people to try and attempt to kill this guy. I mean, imagine. I mean, I haven't heard or seen anyone getting close to Biden, Jill, or Kamala, right, or even the president of Iran.
And that's the thing. We don't want them to, right? That's not the answer. Killing Biden or killing Kamala isn't the answer, right?
It's just that I think they see that Trump's going to win in a landslide, and they just cannot let it happen.
Yep.
And the thing is that, in my personal opinion, I think that the killing is going to slow down. I think that Trump being alive is kind of like what's holding the floodgates back.
I think so,
but
too.
I feel like if they accomplish assassinating him, it's all going to go to shit. And I think they're starting to realize that, and they're going to just try to get him by lawfare. That's my personal opinion.
Yeah,
they're going to try to. I don't know if it's going to work or not.
Are you in agreement with me that you don't believe that Trump will be allowed to be president?
Absolutely not. I mean, and if they do, they're going to make it impossible for him to actually. They're going to do what they did to Gore and Bush, and they're going to take the election, through the courts. and we waited 3 months. I'm pretty sure they can make it prolonged longer than that if they need to, but they won't let them take part. You have to. I mean, you have it. I mean, you and I seem like we have a kind of similar history. What would you do to get away with what you did? You know what I mean?
You cover your tracks. That's what I've been saying. Criminals know the crimes they've committed. Everybody else has to investigate them and figure out what they did, but they know exactly what they did. And what their actions do is try to do everything to cover that up so you never know. And that's where we are.
And the crazy part is that, and the thing is that it's a family enterprise. I mean, not too long ago, Nancy Pelosi's son, Paul Jr. Pelosi, was in court for racketeering.
Yep.
And all the charges were dropped. And it's just like, are you fucking? If this is me or you,
Brooklyn, it's possible he was innocent. It's possible he was innocent, but it doesn't look good.
Right?
Yeah, exactly. That's exactly what they tried to do with Hunter Biden. If you remember the Hunter Biden case, the case that he had two cases that they were trying to sweep underneath the rug, and the gun case was the biggest one. And
because it was federal.
Because it was federal, right? So they had to hide that one. And that's what the DOJ and the FBI did in collusion with the Bidens, is they went in and gave Hunter Biden a sweetheart deal. And when America found out about it, they lost their shit. Well, it's no different than when, the person comes into Marie Antoinette and says, hey, the people are starving in the streets. They have no bread to eat. And Marie Antoinette says, well, then have them eat cake. We've got people, Pete Buttigieg saying, hey, if people can't afford to buy gas, then they should go buy an electric car. It's no different.
Here's kind of like, I don't want to say the kinetic. Here's like the telltale sign that we are royally fucked. All right, look at what's happening in New York with Eric Adams, right?
Well,
he's being indicted on FARA charges, taking bribes, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera. Who else do you and I know is guilty of a FARA violation? Top of your head, just name it. There's one person that we know right now that's guilty of a FARA violation.
Yep.
That's Hunter Biden. I didn't see the feds kicking his door and take his cell phone.
Nope.
But they did do that to Adams and his campaign manager, and also to I'm pretty sure it's a different thing. The police commissioner, the Spanish dude. But the point of the matter is, why did they do that? Because he spoke out against what Biden was doing, because it was killing his economy. Because he knew his job was on the line. The same thing like with Governor Abbott. He put his foot down because he saw he was going to lose re-election. Because people were like, "Yo, what are you doing? Are you supposed to be the governor? You're letting this happen." The same thing was going to happen with Adams, which of course he's still going to lose. But that's why they're fucking with him now. If they're able to eat their own, you mean nothing to them as a Republican or as an American citizen.
I agree. How much longer do you think it's going to be, Brooklyn? Do you think we have weeks, months, years? Where are we?
I think before the year ends, it's going to start getting very kinetic. My honest opinion. Before the year, before Christmas, I say like after Thanksgiving, it's just people. You don't understand. Like people are like. I mean, look. I left Brooklyn. I moved. Right? I moved to Pennsylvania and shit. Right. You have Democrats for Trump signs in fucking Pennsylvania. Even the Democrats are sick of it. They're pissed off. American people are fucking pissed. And here's the bad part. And, Dan Bongino said this. He struck her right in the head. You liberals have no idea what you're in for. And you know where and I know where he's getting at. And this is what they're not looking at. When you have a whole country pissed at 1%, that 1% is going to have nowhere to hide. Right? And that 1% is not military trained. They're not firearm friendly. They haven't been into fights. They haven't been punched in the face.
Right.
Like, bro, you're not going to know how to react when you get stomped the fuck out.
Well, that's it. That's what Mike Tyson says, that everybody's got a plan until they get punched in the face. And you're right. And would you agree with me that the bullies don't want us rising up so that they can put martial law? They don't want to have to do anything more than they have to. Would you agree? They just want us to comply.
They're trying. All they're doing is trying to keep the water from going over the dam.
Right.
That's why, I feel like they're going to try to ease up on the Trump assassinations, because once they kill him and they see that the American people now have no hope, then no one's going to give a fuck. Like, yo, fuck this. I'm not going to live like this no more. Are you crazy? I mean, I'm working my job. I'm working 3 days a week and working the rest off the books in cash. because I'm not fucking paying taxes
Yep.
to have my money sent to Ukraine. Fuck
Yep.
you, bro. I'm not doing that shit.
Yep. And
I can
everybody
spend
should
my
do
own money better than you can.
I can't remember. I
If
can't remember.
everyone did that. Go ahead, I'm sorry.
Well, what I was going to say is what we were talking about. This money issue. You're absolutely right. I can't remember the congressman. He was on Fox News tonight, and he's down flying with the rescue crews. He was a rescue worker in the military, and so he's flying with them to help. And I think he is from North Carolina. I think he's one of the congressmen from North Carolina. But it was interesting tonight. What he was saying is that, let me get your thoughts on this. We got about 5 minutes to wrap up in this segment. He says that FEMA should be shut down and that money should be returned back to the states.
I 1,000% agree, because of course, are you kidding me? How do you spend $1 billion on fucking immigrants that came here illegally, bro? What about the American citizens that now need that shit? Are you fucking crazy? And not only that, I'm hearing that FEMA directed people to donate to them and not to private or charitable organizations that are on the ground, like Save Our Allies or Project Pineapple Express, that are on the grounds working. Why? Because they want to cover their fuck ups. Like, oh no, look, we have the money. Yeah, it's other people's money. What about the money that we paid in our taxes?
Yep.
Where did that go? The people that are getting $13,000 of fucking food stamps, $4,000 or $5,000 a month vouchers. So what about me? Who's gonna pay my fucking mortgage, bro? I don't see no one fucking give me $4,000 or $5,000. I'm here working right now talking to you. Pay my fucking mortgage, bro.
Well, and that's exactly, Brooklyn. That's exactly what they want. They want you to be a slave. They want you to shut the fuck up. Do as you're told. Again, like I said, these guys are bullies. Brooklyn, thanks so much for calling tonight. We're going to take other callers here in just a moment. You know, what I've been talking about over the last 4 years is based solely on one thing. When I was a kid, my dad was a minister, and we moved around quite a bit. I went to 13 different schools, 14 different schools. When I say that, I went to one school twice. So anyway, but 14 schools in my education, and we were moving. If not every year, we were moving sometimes twice in 1 year. And there was a year that I went to 3 different schools because of where we were moving. The reason I tell you all that is because it gives me unique insight on how bullies work. I don't do well with bullies. I never have. And so what I've learned about bullies is to see their traits. What are the first things they do? How do you know that they're a bully and that they're going to be a problem? Well, the first one is when they start teasing you and you push back. And they go, oh, I was just joking. Why are you so serious, man? Well, you got to cool down. Hey, we're just having fun. I am too. Let's keep doing it. You see, when you push back, it makes them very uneasy because bullies don't like to get pushback at all. That's why the January 6th inmates, political prisoners, are in prison right now today. They've got to make an example of those who stepped out, those who dissented. Oh, they're there because they beat up the cops. They're there because the 2020 election was rigged. That's why they're there. It's the cover up. We saw Seattle, Portland. We saw all these cities burn through the summer of love in 2020. Nobody indicted. No doors kicked down. Nobody spending 3.5 years in prison. This is political, folks. And the sooner you wrap your head around it, the better off we're going to be. We'll be right back after this.
Do you have a CramerSez.com free speech account? Unlike other platforms, CramerSez is 100% free speech. Get your free CramerSez account today at CramerSez.com.
Fuck censorship.
Impact Health Sharing isn't insurance. It's affordable health care.
Impact Health Sharing offers comprehensive medical services, covering preventive care, maternity, accidents, illnesses, and injuries.
Plus, choose any doctor or healthcare provider you trust with no in-network restrictions.
Enjoy the freedom and coverage you need
for your entire family.
To learn more about how you can save 30, 40, even up to 50% on your healthcare costs, call 844-827-2637.
That's 844-827-2637.
Introducing Tusk.
With Tusk, you get uncensored news and secure browsing.
All while protecting your privacy.
Choose the news you trust and take control of your internet.
Join the free speech revolution with Tusk.
Download Tusk today at tuskbrowser.com. Learn how you can save up to 70% on your healthcare costs with just one click. Visit CramerSez.com/impact for complete details. That's CramerSez.com/impact. The CramerSez Project is back.
With global news and local views.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
You're watching CramerSez.
So one of the things that people have said, about me here recently, especially in the last few weeks, is that I'm calling for revolution and civil war. I'm not. I'm saying it's going to happen whether we want it or not. Doesn't matter what I want. It's going to happen. As Brooklyn said, we're weeks to months away from this, folks. They cannot allow Trump to come in and investigate them. They cannot allow it. They can't allow the books to be opened. Why are they so scared? Adam Schiff today calling for Americans to be censored going into the election. What are they so afraid of? If they won with 81 million votes in 2020, what are they so afraid of? Their base should take them away. Everything's been great. These people got exactly what they voted for. You told them what you were going to do. You delivered. Remember when Kamala says, "We did it, Joe. We did it." Well, they did do it. It's all them. And then you got Kamala and balls to the walls, horse cum guzzler Tim Walz. He's out here trying to be the new masculine man. That's who they're presenting as the new masculine man. This is the craziness of this party right now. And folks, they know the crimes they've committed, and they're willing to do whatever they need to do to cover it up. My eyes were fully opened. COVID got me my eyes open. Not really. Okay. I'm starting to see what's going on here. But what opened my eyes truly is when I had the opportunity to see what was on Hunter Biden's laptop. When I was given a chance to look at the hard drives and see the material that was on there. That's what darkened my heart. I cried. It brought me to tears because what I realized, folks, is that I expected Hunter Biden to be guilty of the things that we thought he was guilty of. What I didn't think is that the FBI would hold on to this information this long and not do anything. I didn't think that happened in our nation. I thought we were a nation of laws, but apparently we're not. If your last name is a certain name, then you get off free. And it doesn't matter if it's Biden or Bush, Reagan, Carter, Ford, Nixon, it doesn't matter. It's all the same because they hate you. And they're going to do everything they can to you, folks, everything that they can to make you comply, to make you relent, to give in. They don't have any other option. Because what's happening now, this is the third act. And what's happening is that the bullies who've been bullies, they've been doing it long enough that they don't want to give it up. That's the first thing. And the second thing is they know the sins they've committed. They know the crimes they've committed. They know what they're guilty of. And they don't want that being exposed to anyone. Look at what's going on with Diddy right now. I mean, the last 3 weeks, just go back and look at the news over the last 3 weeks. If you don't believe that we're headed towards a cascade event where this information continues to build and continues to build and continues to build, there's going to be a breaking point. This is unsustainable in a nation. And when that happens, that's when revolution or civil war breaks out. Because at some point, the government is going to fail. They're hardly able to keep it together right now. Look at the response that's going on in Tennessee and in North Carolina. Look at how bad the federal government is handling this. And I'm not blaming it on Biden. He has nothing to do with it. He's at the fucking beach. There are experts supposedly in place that supposedly know what to do in these events, and they don't know what to do. And they're so worried about Americans helping Americans that they've actually shut down other people actually rescuing people because, well, you're interfering in our operation. The operation is to save as many lives as possible, motherfucker. This is the way that we need to start speaking in America. These motherfuckers work for us. We're not their piggy bank. They're our employees. From time to time, you got to bring an employee into the office and you got to chastise them. Well, that's what this is. The other people that I'm chastising is you, the American people. We've all been too fucking lazy. We've had it so good for so long. If you're my age, I'm 60 years old. If you're my age, we lived through one of the greatest periods in American history. Not as great as the 50s but the music of the 80s and the 90s and the light, everything that happened, the technology that blew up, the computers and the phones and everything that we've been given. So if you think that we're going to get back to normal in 33 days when Trump is elected, walk me through that. I would love to hear somebody explain how they think that Trump is going to get reelected. Folks, we didn't address the 2020 issue. In fact, some states actually hardened it, made it harder for American citizens to get transparency in the elections. If a group comes forward and says, hey, listen, we want to look at well, you got to pay $1 million this, and you got to do this, and you got to have an insurance policy, and you got to be able to, they're putting hurdles in front of democracy. They're making it harder for you and I to participate. They're making it a one-team sport. That team is called the Uniparty. They don't want us in. The left and right thing isn't for us. It's for them to be able to keep score on how many times one's fucked the other. And it's not going to get any better because these people are criminals. Adam Schiff called for the American people to be silenced going into the election, to censor them. The man swore an oath on the Constitution. His reasoning, of course, is because of everyone's safety. It's the spread of misinformation and disinformation and malinformation and the truth. The truth is dangerous. So you got Adam Schiff telling you that you should be censored because what you say may be a danger to him. How can what your words do be a danger to someone? Well, because words are more powerful than a gun, actually. You see, when you use a gun, it's a one-time event, but a word can stick in somebody's brain the rest of their fucking lives. My dad had one. He could not say the word closet. It was closet. It had an N in there at the end. NT, closet. It's in my head. Every time I hear the word closet, I also think closet because that's what I heard my entire life. Pavlov's dogs. I've been well trained. Well, so have the American people. We've been trained to shut our mouths up and be quiet. Here's some bread. Here's some circus. Enjoy yourselves for a while. Entertain yourselves. We've been lazy, asleep at the wheel. As our nation is swerving to the curve, we're now waking up. And folks, one of the things that people have said is that that I've been calling for evolution. Like I said, I'm not calling for it. It's going to come whether we want it or not. But let's keep in mind that this nation was founded on revolution. Think about that. It's not our first go around. In fact, it was tougher for them than it would be for us because I couldn't do what I'm doing right now in 1775. I couldn't be talking to you saying, hey, listen, I think the king is a rotten bastard. And we got if all of this was available back then, I wouldn't be able to do it. But because of what those men did in 1776, I'm able to sit here tonight and tell you that the motherfuckers that are currently in they're not living up to the same exact standard that our founding fathers set for us. And when that happens, well, the Declaration of Independence is fairly clear. It says it's our responsibility, it's our duty to remove those. It's our responsibility, it's our duty. That's permission, folks. That for a free nation, men and women have to be willing to stand and kill other men and women who they believe are stealing their rights. And all we've said is relent. Stop this fucking craziness. Send the illegals back home. Close the fucking borders. Let's get our spending under control. Let's stop the foreign aid. Let's care about America more than everybody else on the planet for just a while. They won't do it. It'll never happen. Because they can't relent. They can't stop. They cannot stop, and they cannot be investigated. I cannot tell you how important that statement is. They cannot afford to be investigated. This deal with Diddy is showing people are scared. I'm hearing some of the wildest things out of DC right now. My sources in DC are telling me that it is chatty Cathy about who's going to go down, because they know. They're not telling us, but behind the scenes, the chatter is clear. And folks, it's going to be names that you're not going to believe. Trump ain't one of them. I can't say whether or not Kamala is. She was a friend of Diddy's. She did attend a lot of parties. And what did the FBI say or the DOJ say when they announced these charges, these pending indictments of co-conspirators? They said it could potentially upset the election. Now, is that the presidential election or the national election for all the congressmen and the senators? And is that why they wanted to, 3 weeks ago, a bipartisan bill came together to be able to have what they call a new amendment added to the Constitution? It's going to be hard to do, by the way, but they've got it ready. I want to tell you, they've got it ready. It's in the chamber. But what this bill says is that in the event that 100 or more sitting congressional members are killed or incapable of serving at one time, that those 100, right, instead of going and doing special elections for all of them, what would happen is that it would give the state's governor the right to place whoever he wanted into that position. That's not democracy, folks. That's not what this nation is built on. They're trying to strip it away a little at a time. This one is a big one. Being able to say that you don't have a voice in who serves you because somebody died or somebody was killed or there was a terrorist act or whatever it was, saying that you lose your right to choose who serves you, that you can't vote for. That's the most undemocratic thing you can do, folks. It doesn't get any more fascist than that. We already saw what happened with the Democrat Party this year. What happened with the Democrat Party? Biden was booted out. There was a coup inside the DNC. And they installed Kamala, the very first presidential candidate to ever ascend to that position without receiving a single primary vote. Don't talk to me about your democracy, because your form of democracy is one-party rule. Do as we say, or we'll get rid of you. We will boot you to the curb. We will Biden you. We will Christine Blasey Ford you. If you don't understand that, folks, if you don't understand that this is where we're headed, and it's only going to get worse if you don't stand and you don't make your voice heard, we're in deep trouble if you don't understand that this election, if we even get to it, is the most important in this nation's history. You're going to get left behind. We'll be right back after this.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
From the halls of Congress
Across the nation.
and around the globe.
You're getting the latest news and conservative views.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
Global news with local views.
CramerSez returns after this message from our partners.
Why pay more for your health care? Impact Health Sharing is a not-for-profit organization, meaning more savings for you. Most members save 30 to 50% on their healthcare costs compared to traditional insurance. Enjoy affordable healthcare without the high costs. Call 844-827-2637 to learn more about how you can save 30, 40, even up to 50% on your healthcare costs. Impact Health Sharing isn't insurance. It's affordable healthcare. Call now, 844-827-2637.
Learn how you can save up to 70% on your healthcare costs with just one click. Visit CramerSez.com/impact for complete details. That's CramerSez.com/impact.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
You're watching CramerSez.
Headlines, headlines, headlines. Headlines will tell you everything. Everything happening today will tell you what's going to happen tomorrow, or how close we are to getting to what is going to happen next. Let's read some headlines today. MSNBC producer, this is an undercover gotcha. MSNBC producer admits network is doing all they can to help elect Kamala Harris. That's election interference, folks. Ruminate on that for a moment. Just think about that for a moment. That's election interference. If any of what the fact that he said it is that it's true. If it's true in his heart, we've seen the rest of them, then they're admitting exactly what's happening here. That is election interference. And you know what? Here's what's interesting. What is that? Oh, goddamn. Somebody put it up here for me. What is the EO, the executive order that Trump did dealing with the election interference? 18 something. 18.3, whatever. I can't remember, something like that. You can pop that up there. I'd appreciate that. But lost my train of thought with that one. Lost my train of thought. Well, let me say this. The one question you have to ask yourself is, based on what we've learned, especially in the last few weeks about Kamala Harris. I had never seen the clip where she said that, oh yeah, we're going to come into your house and make sure that you're storing your guns correctly. You won't have any say so. We're going to come in and say, you've got a right to own the guns, but we have the right to come in and check them. That's an infringement. And if that's the way she thinks, then she's going to definitely want to get rid of guns. And she said, yeah, I want to get rid of all your AR-15s. And now she's saying, no, Tim and I are gun owners and everybody should have a gun. Everybody. You believe this shit? So knowing what they're saying now and what their history is, and the lies they've already told. Oh, we won't mandate anything. We can't mandate it. I don't have the authority to mandate it. It's mandated. They're liars. Again, the sooner you realize that and realize that everything that they say, everything that comes out of their goddamn mouths is a fucking lie. The sooner you realize that, the sooner you'll be willing to stand, because what you realize is you're no longer willing to be the slave of a master who treats you so poorly, who gives all your resources to every other kid in the neighborhood. You get none. When a parent does that, when a parent neglects the child, gives favors to everybody else, but neglects the children, they go to jail. Tell me, what is the difference? What is the difference? There is none. Folks, we live in a black and white world. What people try to do is make it gray. They try to put these excuses or reasons into place, and it's black and white. Everything's black and white. Everything's yes or no. There are no gray areas. Gray is where the lies live. Gray is where the justification to do wrong lives. Black and white are pure. Truth, honesty. But as soon as you mix those and you mix those colors, you don't get that anymore, because, well, when you're taking a little bit of truth and a little bit of honesty and put it together and say, we're going to take this part out, it doesn't matter anymore. You don't have pure anything. What you have is the gray, and the gray is where the crimes live. And they're not going to allow us. I mean, you've already seen what they've done. They're not going to allow us to investigate them. They've already made that apparent by the actions of Joe Biden, by reclassifying the JFK files. That was 70 years ago. Well, it wasn't 70 years ago. It was 60 years ago. 60 years ago. That was 60 years ago. Think about that. They're reclassifying it. Why? Well, not because of who was involved. They're all dead. It was the institutions that were involved and the roles they played. That's what can't be exposed. Because it would show everybody exactly where we are in this nation. Hopefully you can see it for yourself. Hopefully it's getting clearer and clearer to you on a daily basis. All you have to do is read the news. Now, it seems like the dock workers got this strike taken care of and they've reached an agreement and everything's over. So, the story of here we go, panic buying at Costco over port strike fears is probably not going to be a big story tomorrow if they actually get this deal done. But look at what's going on, the environment that's going on right now. By the way, the reason I believe that the deal has come together is because they've used the emergency in North Carolina and Tennessee and throughout Florida to pressure them, to pressure the ports, not the workers, but the ports, to be very forgiving. I'm sure that there's going to be some tax benefit or something at some point, and we'll end up paying for all of it. That's the way it works. Tina Peters, former Mesa County clerk and Gold Star mother, sentenced to 9 years in latest political persecution. These are the headlines of our days right now, people. Do you realize where we are? Do you realize how close we are? This is yet one more political prisoner in our country in 2024. Thought we'd gotten past this. We've become everything that we've warned everybody else about becoming. We are an out of control banana republic. We're a fascist nation who've been fooled into believing that they have freedoms. And when we exercise those freedoms, they call us insurrectionists. I was at January 6th. That wasn't an insurrection. Learned our lesson. See, when insurrections happen, they're usually armed. People don't go home when the mayor says, hey, go home. If they're really wanting to overthrow the government, and that's what they want you to believe. We were trying to overthrow the government. That wasn't the reason I was there. I was there because the election was stolen, and I watched it happen in real time, and I wanted to make my voice heard. So I stood there on the steps, and I yelled and screamed at them. Didn't go in the building. I thought that was fucking stupid. Not gonna break and enter to protest. Sorry, that's where you lose me. But folks, we're in a position where we've got people like Adam Schiff that are wanting the systems, Facebook, Instagram, Twitter, etc., to censor American citizens on misinformation, which is actually truth that's going to harm them. Nobody cares about a lie that has no weight behind it. We tell a lie on December 25th every year. I shouldn't say that. If you've got kids watching, you know where I'm going. I did that on the radio one time. I got a lot of mail on that one. You can't talk about an Easter bunny and a tooth fairy the same way. Folks, I'm going to put it this way. We're in between a rock and a hard place. On one hand, we're a nation built on revolution. On the other hand, we believe in law and order. And for what I think is going to happen next, that's going to break down, and it's going to break down very quickly. As I keep saying, there's a cascade event happening. We're not there yet. But we can probably see on the horizon, we can see the edge. We can see where the things are falling over. We're almost there. And what's interesting about it is that towards the end, it speeds up. It doesn't take nearly as long. The emergencies continue to happen one after another because the people in charge don't know how to manage them. They don't know how to say no. They don't know how to manage the situation and say no to those people that want to. Well, it's going on right now. The way that these deals have been done, there's some stories right now that the state has done deals with friends of government officials. I haven't gotten that confirmed yet, but imagine that. I mean, we found out that the mayor of Springfield, who's so pissed off about the town getting painted with a paintbrush of eating cats and dogs, that he's all pissed off about that statement. But then we learned that he actually owns fucking houses that he's renting to the illegals. So the money that you and I are paying, he's getting double dipping. Folks, this shit has to stop. And it stops only one way. You stand. The first way we do it is on Election Day. That's the first day we stand. And the moment we realize that they're stealing this nation and finalizing the 2020 coup, the moment we realize that, if you don't stand and shout at the top of your lungs and head to your state capital and make these people earn their fucking pay and get rid of the federal government, because we have the authority to do it. The states do not have to accept what the government does. The federal government serves at the pleasure of the state governments, not the other way around. We don't serve the federal government. Federal government was never supposed to do all the stuff that it does. Go back and read the Constitution. It's very clear. There was never supposed to be a WIC program. There was never supposed to be financial aid. It's nowhere in there. And the fact that they send this money out is no different than theft from you to give to a buddy. It's the bully robbing you and taking your money and putting in his friend's pocket. No difference. We'll be right back after this.
Preventive care and mental health are essential. Impact Health Sharing offers annual wellness visits and mental health support. Take care of your body and mind with affordable healthcare solutions from Impact Health Sharing. Experience comprehensive care for your overall well-being, mind, body, and soul. Call 844-827-2637 now to learn more about how you can save 30, 40, even up to 50% on your healthcare costs. Impact Health Sharing isn't insurance. It's affordable healthcare. Call now.
Introducing Tusk.
With Tusk, you get uncensored news and secure browsing,
all while protecting your privacy.
Choose the news you trust and take control of your internet.
Join the free speech revolution with Tusk.
Download Tusk today at tuskbrowser.com.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
You're watching the CramerSez Project.
You're watching CramerSez.
I forgot to get that turned off. There we go. Got that out of the way. Let's get back to the Tina Peters story. I don't want to wrap that one up. Tina Peters is the former Mesa County clerk, Gold Star mother. She's been sentenced to 9 years. She's one of the latest political prisoners. And why that's important is because what she's been given the 9 years for is that when the state government told her as a county clerk, that she had to destroy election data. She chose not to do that. She didn't destroy the data. She made a copy of it so that there could be transparency in what happened in 2020. And because she kept that drive and allowed other people to see it, 9 years in prison. They don't lock up people that are under danger to them, folks. They only lock up those that stand. And right now, they can pick them off. Bannon in prison right now. Navarro just got out. They want to send Trump to prison for the rest of his life. You've got corrupt judges and corrupt DAs willing to do and say anything. In fact, campaign on the fact that they're going to go after a private citizen. Think about that. That's disgusting. Hey, everybody. Put yourself back on the playground. I mean, this is what the mentality of this is. Hey, everybody. Don't you hate him? Yeah, I hate him too. Well, if you give me some power, I'll go fuck with that motherfucker. That's what's happening here. Life hasn't changed since the playground. It hasn't changed since 5th grade. It hasn't changed since 4th grade. If you don't understand that, the position that we're in right now is that on the playground, in the position of the playground, we are currently about 1.5 feet from being nose to nose with the fucking bully. That's when the bully will show you exactly what they're willing to do, how far they're willing to go, how much they want to hurt you. And what you have to remember is that the people that were the bullies on the playground when we were kids, they didn't stop being bullies. You know those movies where the bully grows up and he realizes he was a dick and then comes back and he's popular again and everybody likes him because, you know, he's come clean. That doesn't happen. The bullies don't learn their lessons. When bullies learn their lessons, they usually end up dead or in prison. Look at Pete Diddy. He was a bully. You've seen the videos of him beating the woman in the hall. So Tina Peters held on to this information and wants to be able to make sure that what we were told in 2020 is correct, and they put her in prison. They do not lock up the crazy people that can't harm them. They only lock up the people that tell truth, that stand and say, this is not right. That's why we need more, because it's easy to pick off right now. For the last 3 years, I've been waiting for the FBI to knock on my door. Why? Well, two things. I was at January 6th, and second, what I talk about. You see, they got a habit of doing that here recently. These men and women who have put their hand on the Bible and swore an oath to the Constitution come knocking on your door as a government official. Hey, we want to talk to you about what you've been saying. I'm not okay with that. You shouldn't be either, because they don't have the authority to do it. There's no such thing as the narc patrol, right? It's not in the Constitution. It's not there. They don't have the authority to have these agencies to oversee us. The states are supposed to do that. Well, how are we going to do it when a criminal does? Well, the states should work that out. Maybe they should build a system that talks, where every state talks to every state, so that in the event that a criminal travels from California to Florida, that they're able to pick it up in Florida fairly quick because they know what he did in California. Maybe our technology can actually work for us. And we can lower taxes, and we can lower the temperature, but they're not going to do it. They will not allow any of these great ideas to happen. Why? Because they're a threat to them. They can't make their millions and billions on our backs if we make it like it was supposed to be before. We were paying 50% of everything that we make to the government, between state taxes, local taxes, federal taxes, fees, all the bullshit you have to pay the government, everything you have to do. You buy a home, you've got to ask the government for permission to buy a fucking home in America. If you're tired of that, then maybe you're realizing that it's time to stand. You've got 33 days or less. We will see what will happen. As I said, this is going to be a cascade event. I don't expect it to get better. I'm not a pessimist, folks. If you knew me in person, I am one of the most jovial, optimistic people on the face of the earth, but I'm a realist. That's what you have to understand about this, is that this isn't what I want. This is all that's left available to them. If you've been listening to Kash Patel and Steve Bannon, and you've been listening to what they've been saying for the last 2 years, and in particular in the last few months about what their plans are in the event that Donald Trump is put in office, it is very clear that it is a clear and present danger to the deep state, the FBI, the CIA, and the corrupt within our within the federal Congress, going into the agencies and cleaning them up, firing 80% in one day, 80% of the staff in one day. I think it's interesting that Trump was talking to Elon Musk about efficiency. What did Elon Musk do? He came in, took over Twitter, and what did he do? He fired 80% of the staff. What happened? There was a couple hiccups. But there aren't any more. They figured it out. Because we're Americans, folks. That's what we do. We don't need the federal government in our business. We don't need somebody who is an expert, By the way, I want to clarify, everything that we've been going through for the last 4 fucking years is because of the experts. Joe, the mechanic down at the garage, he didn't have anything to do with all that COVID bullshit. It was the experts that did that bullshit. It's the experts right now dealing with Helene and the aftermath. The experts. And the experts are getting pissed off at the local people because the local people want action now, saving lives now. And, well, the FEMA people, the government people, all they know is structure. I can't do this until I have that. Until this form is signed, I can't do anything. Until this person shows up, I have no authority. They're trapped in this bureaucracy, and it cannot, folks, it can't be fixed. Imagine if power went back to the states and we withdrew our federal government back to what it was supposed to be, where they only meet every 2 years. They're not in D.C. They don't live there. They were never supposed to live there all amongst each other. They all became friends. Who's going to narc on your friend? I'm being real here. I mean, if you found out that your best friend who's a congressman, you're a senator, and you found out this congressman, he's having an affair, are you going to go narc on him? No, because maybe one day you want to have an affair. And you don't want anybody narking on you, so you keep your mouth shut. That's the way that shit works. And that's what's happening in our nation right now. Folks, they've left themselves no other outlet. History shows us this. History tells us that when politicians paint themselves into this corner, they only have one recourse. It's not more freedoms. It's not more liberty. It's more pain. Because at the core, they're bullies. They've never changed. They didn't grow out of it. They're bullies. And they're going to continue to do what they do. They're going to continue to be a bully because you won't say stop. You won't say the most important word that you learned. It's the first word every one of us learn. Doesn't matter what language you speak. We all learn the very same word. All of us. It's the first word we learn. It's not yes. It's no. That's the first word we learn. All humans learn that word first. It's not mama. It's not dada. It's no. That's the first word that a child understands. When I say this, that shit stops. You've forgotten the power of no. You've got to be able to say no to everything. No to your children. No to your wife. No to your husband. No, we can't do that. It's going to harm us more than help us. No. And it's the same as a nation. Our politicians are incapable of saying no. They can't say no to themselves, and they definitely can't say no to the foreign hands that are out, begging for money. They've got to give it to everybody. And it's easy because it's OPM. It's other people's money. I always thought that was funny that opium and OPM sounded kind of the same, right? And OPM means other people's money. Think about that, the opium of other people's money. OPM, other people's money. It's easy to spend. That's one of the claims to fame that I have in my company. We've been so, our reputation is so awesome. We've got a great reputation for being under budget. We're very good with money. We do a lot with what we're given. And what's interesting, folks, is that when you do that, there are no excuses. Hold on. What's this? Hold on. Sorry, another story came in. Sorry, lost my train of thought there. Another story came in. No. Wow. So, leaked Army memos reveal Iran's 2020 revenge strike exposed U.S. soldiers to radioactive material, leaving some critically ill. Retired JAG slams Biden DOJ for siding with Iran, blocking lawsuits by injured service members. What I've been telling you, they fucking hate you. When are you going to realize they hate you? They don't give two shits about you. They only need you every 2, 4, or 6 years. Otherwise, you're useless to them. In fact, you're more of a problem than you are a help in their eyes. They can't deal with you. They got to be with the millionaires and billionaires sucking their dicks and getting ramrodded at these parties so that they can, get their money to be able to run for office. They've sold their souls. And anyone who's willing to sell their soul is willing to sell you out. That does it for me tonight. Thanks so much for watching. I'll see you again soon.
Thank you for watching Kramer Says Live.
This concludes this broadcast.
Please follow, like, and subscribe to be notified the next time
The CramerSez project goes live.